Good morning friends and welcome to the pre-market view. Friends, what a weekend it has turned out to be for India. Remember we were talking about the government taking the baby steps in terms of reforms, but the same baby has started running like a Usain Bolt, and actually over the weekend we have seen host of announcements including FDI in multi-brand retail, FDI in aviation to the tune of 51%, even for the cable and the broadcasters the FDI has been hiked up to 74%. A few more companies have been shortlisted for divestment, and even the government is looking at changing the norms for sourcing for the multi-brand retail companies. So all in all, it's turning out to be a very positive and pro-reform kind of a stance that the government has taken, which is definitely a big positive for our markets. Of course, there is going to be some kind of an opposition from the political parties as we have elections in many states, and everyone is trying to win the brownie points. But if the government is able to deal with this issue over the next few days and is able to move ahead with the reforms, then definitely it would be a very big positive for our markets. Overall, global markets also have been pretty strong. US markets over the weekend were up almost about 0.5%, and they were at the highest level from December 2007. Even European markets had a blockbuster session. They were up about 2.5 to 3%, and they are at a 3 to 4 year highest level. The only point is that the Brent crude has actually shot up to 117, but at the moment I think the focus would not be so much on the Brent crude part. Also important to note is that the dollar index has gone below 79 and the euro has strengthened to about 1.31, which also means that there is a risk on rally which is happening across the globe, and which would be definitely a big positive for the flows. And talking about the flows, friends, Friday we had a huge inflow by the FIs to the tune of about 2,834 crore in the cash market. However, the domestic institutions were sellers to the tune of 688 crore. Friends, we also have an important RBI policy meet where, because of the high inflation data that came out at 7.5%, the expectations are that there may not be any rate cut or a CRR cut. But given the fact that the RBI was waiting for the governmental action first before they really moves ahead with the rate cut, it may surprise positively, and that could be a big positive both for the broad markets as well as some of the PSU banking stocks which were languishing because of the lack of policy action on NPL concerns. So overall, it's going to be a very interesting session for our markets. Friends, talking about the companies or sectors that would get affected by the developments that have happened overnight and some of the news that have hit the morning today. First of all, we have already said that there has been a hike in the multi-brand retail to about 49%. Though it has been left to the states to actually implement this, and it will take a while for the acceptance of this particular news. But we believe that some of these companies, Pantaloon Retail, Shopper Stop, Provoke, CSC, Aditya Birla Nuvo, these are the companies which would have positive implications of this development. Also, in case of aviation, 51% FDI has been allowed, and because of that we believe that SpiceJet will be the biggest beneficiary, because some of the other companies may not really even qualify for the foreign direct investment. And in case of cable stocks, the FDI has been capped at 74%. So companies like Dish TV, Hathway and Den Networks could see good amount of action. Friends, in case of ITC, they have decided to expedite 25,000 crore investment plan. This will be both across their hotel as well as the FMCG part. So one can go long on ITC with a stop loss of 262.5 and a target of about 276 to 280. In case of Bhushan Steel, there might be a cancellation of its coal blocks, and that could be a big negative for Bhushan Steel. So one can short Bhushan Steel with a stop loss of 479 and a target of about 456 to 447. And similarly for JSW Steel also, some of their coal blocks have been under controversy, and some of those coal blocks could get cancelled. So one can go short on JSW Steel also with a stop loss of 726 and a target of about 690 to 676. Friends, advanced tax numbers have come out, and for some of the companies like HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, Hindustan Lever, Ambuja Cement, these numbers are good. So some of these companies could see good action in today's market. And today, as I said friends, there is going to be an RBI policy meet where the expectations are that you may not see any rate cut or a CRR cut, but yes, there is some probability of that happening today because the government has moved ahead with some important policy decisions, including diesel price hike. So RBI might surprise the market positively, and if that happens, then you could look at going long on some of the PSU banks like State Bank, Bank of Baroda, and even some of the private sector banks which have corrected like Axis Bank, ICICI Bank. Some of these stocks could see a good amount of action, and also some of the high beta names which were actually languishing in the infrastructure space, real estate space, those are the sectors which could see a good amount of buying interest if RBI actually moves ahead with a rate cut. That's it from all of us friends. Other important thing that I would like to share with you is that the government is actually looking out few more reforms over the next few days, and one of the important announcement could be setting up of an infrastructure fund of a big size wherein the insurance companies could actually contribute to the corpus. So the government action on reform front may continue over the next 3 to 4 days, which could be a big sentiment booster. That's it from all of us friends. See you tomorrow at the same time.